Hey guys, this is Alexa Vaughn, and if you don't know me, I make videos about growing in Christ, gaining a community, and hopefully making a change in the world. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about diversity and inclusion in the church. But before we get into the video, please consider liking and subscribing for much more of my content. Okay, let's get into the video. Okay, so last Sunday, my pastor said something really profound about having a multicultural, multi-generational, and diverse church. And that has been something that's always stuck into my mind. And so it was really nice to hear that that was a vision that he had for us. But it is something that I wanted to discuss with you guys because I began thinking like how truly diverse our churches nowadays, and especially as far as ethnicity goes, but also socioeconomic status, and education, and then the leadership. Is the leadership cross generational? And it's a lot of different things to talk about and to unpack in this video, but I don't want to make it too long, but I definitely want to just kind of hit on some things and see what you guys think about it. So personally, I truly don't feel like a lot of churches are really truly multicultural, and I mean a lot of that has to do with where the location of the church, and what that population, ethnicities and race, racial backgrounds, everything in that area is like. So of course, if it's a predominantly Black area, white, Hispanic, that kind of thing, then of course the churches in the area is going to reflect whatever dominant population is in that area. But I also began to think about outside of really extreme situations and cases, why is it that so many churches lack true diversity? And I just feel like it has something to do, of course, with there's the culture, but I also wonder if maybe some of us have a difficult time with witnessing to people of diverse backgrounds just because you feel like you don't have any relatability with them. But I would like to just challenge everyone to kind of do a self-reflection and an inner monologue and say, hey, why haven't I witnessed or discussed my church, Christ, my faith, with people who don't look like me, who don't speak like me, who may not think like you. And just kind of think about how you could expand your comfort zone to include doing those type of activities. I know that personally I am praying about doing that because, I mean, believe it or not, I'm actually really shy, but God just continues to put me in different spaces and, elements to where I have to expand my comfort zone and stretch myself and really put my trust in Him as far as giving me the strength, the encouragement to reach out to those different people, and different types of things that I have to do because I'm reaching out to so many different people and using my voice. So that is one thing. And then I began to think about, sometimes you might have a certain fear about, are they gonna like my church or like the environment that, this is the vibe that we have here. And I just feel like people who are not like this will not prescribe to that. But I really feel like you don't really know until you try. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's not really about that person coming to your church necessarily. It's about sharing the message of the gospel and getting that person saved and changing their life, and hopefully just planting a seed so that they can go out and share the message, and so on and so forth. But it really is something to think about as far as having that diversity, because when you have a truly diverse, multicultural, multi-generational church, then you have so many different perceptions and outlooks that can really enrich the overall culture in that facility. And if you think about, everybody has differences, but don't think about the differences in the negative way about how they can possibly cause problems, when most of the time those differences have value in them and they can bring different things to the table that if you have too much of the same likeness, you would miss out on. And so many businesses have taken, charge of this and really grabbed this thing, this diversity and inclusion. But churches, I feel like we always are so far behind, when it's ironic because churches have always been the leading power in setting trends and determining culture, in fact. So it's just really interesting to see how in modern times church continues to take a back seat with these types of things. And I just really hope that we can break out of that, and create a space where that can be, more widely accepted and more widely sought out, to diversify, things of that nature, especially because, to be honest, things are going to get a little bit more difficult, or I shouldn't say a little bit, very difficult, in the future, just because we are getting closer and closer to those last days. And, all these different topics about, gender identity and, sexual preferences and all that kind of stuff, those things are going to impact the church if they have not already. So that is very important, to have that diverse background, that diverse group of people that can, form a think tank and help you with combating some of these challenges that are going to be coming forward. Really quick, I just want to share a little bit about my experience with going to a church that was not like my home church back when I was in college. And I was in two different things. I was a part of this Christian group called the BSU, and I really truly loved it, and I would never trade that experience for anything else, because it showed me a lot about the deficiencies within my own self in my walk with Christ, as well as my strengths, and it helped me, really kind of narrow down the type of relationship that I wanted to have with God, as well as allowing me to learn so much more and bring that to my home church. And it's still trying to break down certain barriers, but I definitely want to start implementing some of the things that I learned from college, and experiencing with those people, and bringing it to here, because it really truly enriched me as a person, and I never would have developed some of the habits that I have now if I had not gone to college and been at the BSU. But I also went to their church there, and maybe to help enlighten you guys. So it was basically all white school and church, and it was very different from what I'm used to. I go to a predominantly Black church, but we have some Hispanic and Caucasian people at our church. It might be some other ethnicities of course, like African at our church, stuff like that. But so we are a little bit more diverse than before, and I feel like there has been a push, and I feel like more and more people are starting to go ahead and invite, those people who they thought, they might not be a good fit, because God is for everybody, you know what I mean? And you never know how they might be touched, or they might be moved by something that you have, something that you can offer that they hadn't found previously in places that should have, quote unquote, been their space. So I definitely think that we should all strive to witness more and reach out more. But going back to my experience in college, it allowed me to not only see how other people worship and how other people praise God and minister and things of that nature. But it showed me how similar we all are, and how, I mean, doctrinally it was a little bit different, but the gist of everything was a lot more similar than I even thought it would be. Yeah, the music wasn't the same, or preaching wasn't the same, but it wasn't something that I could not have an appreciation for. So I definitely want to challenge people to visit other churches and see how they worship God, and see how they do things, how they run their staff, or how they what programs do they offer that are not offered at your church, and see if there's something that you guys can sort of piggyback, well, not necessarily piggyback on, but like, oh, start the same thing up in your church, because you reach a different set of people than they do. And I feel like a lot of times we neglect certain aspects of our community simply because we don't understand and we don't know. And had we gone and sought out that diversity in the first place, then we would be able to have that moment, say, oh, okay, this is that, or we have more information, so hey, we need to move forward with this, and there's a need here. And I that's what I'm really getting at, is that we can all just see where there's a need and try to fulfill it. And what better way than to diversify and get all that different feedback and information, so that you can have the knowledge and you can have the tools, the tactics, and the tips necessary, you know what I mean, so you can do that. Really, it's kind of interesting how the church, or I shouldn't generalize it so much, but from what I've seen, the church lacks so much in a lot of different areas of diversity, not just racially, but also, like I said, cross-generational. How many pastors are of the younger age? If so many studies show that the median age for pastors is around 54 years old, which that's so older group. And if you're thinking about having more youth, not that we need to take those pastors out of their place, no, because we definitely need the wisdom, we need the knowledge, we need the mentorship. But I don't know if I see as many churches taking the younger people and putting them at the table, and not just as a token, but actually as a valued member of the table, where they can give their impact and influence the actual service and the actual way things are being run, and the mission and the goals and the future of the church. Because what happens is you get so many youth that, from what I've seen, either they leave the church, or they feel like they don't have a place, you know what I mean? Or they feel like they don't know where they quite fit. And that is very discouraging. And it really hinders, your own personal walk as a young person, because you feel like, I'm growing and I want to grow more and I want to learn more, but I don't know what benefit I am to the kingdom besides just being a body. And people don't like to just feel like that. They want to feel like they're important, that they're valued, that they matter. And it's important that we, reach across the aisle, you know what I mean? And try to close that gap and bridge, that union of the different generations. And I really hope that, older men, start talking more to younger men, and older women start talking more to younger women about their life, their testimony, and the different things that they've, overcome through their walk. Because it's really a challenge, for people, for young believers. I mean, I know it's a challenge for all believers, but I'm just saying young people specifically. And I feel like sometimes they don't want to necessarily reach out on their own, because there's all that peer pressure and everything. But I feel like if we could all just lend a hand and and branch out and say, hey, I noticed that you this or that, whatever the situation may be. That's just something to think about. This video is getting a little bit longer than what I thought it would be. It's definitely so much more to unpack. Like, I could talk about this for hours, to be honest with you, because I'm so passionate about this. And that's part of the reason why I even started this channel, is just so I can grow that community, you know, so I can have that diversity and I can hear different people speak. And please leave something in the comments, like this video, subscribe, hit that church bell, that notification bell, so you can not miss any more of my videos. And let's talk, you know, let's chat, let's start this dialogue, because I definitely want to hear what anybody else has to say about diversity in their church. Maybe share your own experiences with, you know, trying to diversify and include other people, or your fears, or if you have any tips, tools, tactics, any scriptures, anything that you think that can help somebody else. Definitely want to get that started in the comments down below. Or you can definitely hit me up on Instagram. My name is Alexa Vaughn with 2 X's, and you can DM me, let me know what you think, and we can have a, you know, have a little chit chat. So yes, before I tarry even further, we're gonna end this video, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye bye.